I feel like some people might get the wrong idea about trans women and stuff like that. Like it's unfortunate because it's not that people are desperate to date heterosexual cisgender men. It's just the simple fact of that's kind of like what we're. So it's not really. It's unfortunate because it's like now you have men thinking that they're so like, oh, I'm so desirable, like trans people, men. And I personally don't feel like men actually don't like trans women. I feel like a lot of men do like trans women. I feel like what it is sometimes I feel like or some men want trans women who are like completely, you know what I'm saying, like unclockable. And it's kind of hard because a lot of trans women understand like the natural body. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of trans women understand like growing armpit hair and like is natural and it's not something to be like ew, like. And I think that's the type of people that I feel like, you know, there's just some people who I feel like can really benefit off of dating somebody who is trans because, and I'm not saying that as a promotion, you know what I'm saying, but I really do mean that because even like myself, like my story of like my ex, and him and I dating, and he was a FTM, and I didn't just really didn't really expect me to have the with him. And I did. And honestly, like I'm here because I'm not afraid. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just gonna say, and it took a while. It took some months to like actually like get into because it just was. But what I realized is that it wasn't about what's. It's what was about like, do we like? Can we be in the same type of like, and like it was a very intense relation. But anyways, so there's just I don't know, there's just some people who just don't understand that some trans women are not we're not all laughing, or we're not all gigs or something to be like, oh look, it's a man, you know what I'm saying? Like some of us really are, you know dope ass. I met some TSs that were just so much more, and which is really hard for me to. But I've met some TS that were really much more enjoyable than cis, and that's not me. I'm usually like, oh cis, but um you know it's what it is, and I feel like at the end of the day, if you are, you know let's say like you can see the potential in a trans female, then why not try at least a date? You know what I'm saying? Or at least try, because it's not all just. We're not just about the, like it's. Some of us are actual. You know what I'm saying? We like convert. But just want to come on here and just say something at least for you know the women who are going through this this life. um I just know that if I get a man, it's going, like, I don't know, I feel like I'm the type of person where Like cheating to me is not nowhere near my mind. Like I will never I'll never understand like how anybody would cheat. Like I don't. It doesn't make me. You know what I'm saying? Like if I to me, if like I'm not happy, I feel like I'm mad. Like I'm not even wasting any more. Like because as a water person, I don't have the emotional capacity, you know what I'm saying? Or even just the person that I am. Like just I don't have that type of emotional capacity to even cheat and or be cheated on. Like and that's kind of what I feel like a lot of men like want to do. They want that like toxic, and they do, and it's not. It's real, and it's scary sometimes because it's like sometimes a lot of us don't know that we're in getting in. You know, a lot of people expect people to always know what another person like. No, it's not. Intuition is not always like, oh, it's always the first thought that I have. Like, no, intuition sometimes sometimes what you think sometimes is wrong. And it's like, but that's what I've learned for the most part in life is sometimes you just don't know who's right and who's wrong. And, you know, and regardless of what I want to, I want to do I want someone who's just not gonna sit there and be like, "Oh, babe, you look like a man today," or like, "Oh, babe, like you got a mustache." You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, like we both know you know what I'm saying? And I feel like guys like that, they just want to play. You know what I'm saying? They usually guys who play around with TS, they have other cis, you know what I'm saying, that kind of stuff. So it's really just about, being with somebody who's around because I'm like in my early 30s. So, but yeah, but I just want to say that, regardless of what anybody says about you, how you are a bad bitch, and regardless if you're in your 30s, like, or in your 20s or your teens watching, there's going to be some guy. This is for trans girls, so, but there will be some guy and it might be the next gen, but it's definitely going to be some guys who are going to be like, okay, like, don't care, you know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, I love you.